All right. It's your man Nathan with the Game Lace Conversation. I'm revolting like a Haitian. Break the game down about how my government is corrupt as shit. There's a question I posed to viewers on Reddit and Rumble. I'm having issues broadcasting there. I know this isn't my normal time. I won't be able to do my normal time tomorrow. It's going to be like an early morning live stream. So I just wanted to prepare you guys for that. If you have any interest in catching up with it, live stream status. I paid for this service, and Rumble just continues to fuck me over. So it's paid for a streaming service because I was having technical difficulties. I used the streaming service last time I tried to stream on Rumble. It worked. So I had no problem like letting it go through. I was looking forward to, you know, live streaming, having a continuity, but I'm just continuing to have issues. Something's going on with Rumble. Yeah, they haven't taken a video of mine off of the air yet, but I'm having so many issues streaming for the past over a month at this point, going on 2 months, maybe over 2 months. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna let that be. A little frustrating. Paid for some shit that didn't work, but I'll let it be for now. Um, yeah, I came to you guys dressed in uh red, green, and black, not just because of the Pan-African colors and me loving to see Africa overthrowing their oppressors, the Western governments that have been robbing them, killing them for centuries at this point. Um, yeah, they're violent colonizers, and Africans started to come together, overthrow their oppressors, and it's a new world building. They're gaining more independence, mostly away from my government. I hope y'all don't confuse me with my government. There's been an effort to vilify people who are under shitty leaders. Joe Biden does not represent me. I had no part in electing him. He is one of the motherfuckers who has been making me and my people's life just worthless. Like driving down the dollar, fucking people over, trying to arrest everyone I know. He said he didn't want to color jungle, this racist piece of shit, giving eulogies at Klan members. If it's a terrorist, Hamas, I hear you guys are bad dudes. You guys are planning on like coming at America for standing next to Israel. That's not my America. I love the people, hate the government. I hate Israel's government. Uh, I hate all settler colonial governments. Um, I don't hang with terrorism. I don't think killing civilians is the way. Uh, most of us are victims of our government. It's just a way to um, get people all rallied up behind the idea of going after someone who's just as probably not even as mad at my government as I am. I got more issues with my government because I live under these motherfuckers. I understand a lot of people they see the gun end of the government. If you that's one of the reasons why I didn't leave uh the country. It's a lot of places I would love to see. I mean I had like issues finance. I was getting ready to go to Europe because it's a little safer because my government works with them. My government is Europe's bitch. um we like to say we have our independence. But yeah, we went from colonial rule, being a colony of Britain, to being sold to the highest bidder, the richest man, George Washington, a crook, slave trader, piece of shit. It's like if we made Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos the president, the richest, most psychopathic person. Um, but yeah, our country was for sale from the beginning. It started off as a business venture. Then the people who are a part of this godforsaken system, um, They were like, you know what? I don't want to pay taxes to the king. I am the king now. I got these slaves to look at these niggas. I'm their king. These people come from greatness. I erased their history. I told them that they ain't shit, and I made them build the White House. Um, but yeah, it's just like, yeah, my government is built on psychopathy. Um, you know, the most psychopathic people rise to the top. Haven't had a good president in my lifetime, but I can't fret too much because there hasn't been a good president the entirety of the United States. I mean, there's been efforts to listen to the people. We've had good movements. Is what the real thing is. We've had like movements of people who were letting themselves be heard, making the government afraid of them. Um, and that's where we need to be. That's why Africa's moving forward. Uh, but one of the things, you know, I love that Pan African movement, seeing them move forward. But I also wear the red, green, and black, not just because of that movement, but it's also in solidarity, seeing what's going on with the Palestinians. There's been a long kindred bond between uh, my people and the Palestinian people. Um, a lot of the tactics that get brought domestically, um, they get trained in Israel. You police who kill American citizens, they train in Israel, watching their tactics and dealing with the Palestinian people and how to just keep them down. You know, like just oppress them. But you know, like you would think in an ideal society, you see a police officer, you're like, golly gee, I feel safe. Yay, the police are here. But nobody I know feels that way. Not even white people. And leaving the state, you know, I went from California to a few different areas. Uh, Ended up in Washington, where I can honestly say I've never been too harassed by the police. I mean, the like only time I've been stopped by the police was when I had expired tags. You can argue that's harassment. Because it's just like, I'm broke, motherfucker. What the fuck? Why are you stopping me to try to fuck with me? They didn't give me a ticket. Cali, they would definitely give you a ticket. And it's just like, that's one of the frustrating, it makes no sense to me. It's like, I'm struggling. Cali, they would definitely give you a ticket. And it's just like, that's one of the frustrating, it makes no sense to me. It's like, I'm struggling. You see me struggling. That's why I couldn't pay this motherfucking tab. And be like, why you didn't have insurance? If I couldn't pay the tab, well, I mean, how am I afford the insurance? I'm struggling, like I said. So you're gonna take my struggle, amplify it by giving me a ticket. This is why, like, you know, when I started like going through it in Cali, couldn't afford my insurance, all the accoutrements I needed to drive without being harassed by the police. Um, yeah, I was afraid to drive. It's like I might as well just had a busted engine. Transmission started going out, you know. I've driven cars where the brakes were just shot. You know, I just it was just like I better not go on a steep hill because I'm fucked. Um, I had to navigate, just you know, just know the terrain a little bit better. But yeah, when I started having insurance issues, that's why I was like, nah, the car, I can't drive the car. The car's off limits. Police catch me, I'm fucked over. I'm tow back. This is California. Washington, like I said, they didn't give me a ticket. Um, you know, after getting rid of that issue, you know, if I'm not driving, like I'm just walking, never harass. California can't say the same. Most of the videos that I showed of me getting fucked over by the police, um, it was because, you know, while I was out walking, going to the gym, you know, just like the most mundane shit, I'm just getting stopped over some dumb shit. Um, and it's just like you leave the state. California is so progressive. It's just like you leave the state is uh, uh it's like a breath of fresh air. You know, last time I went to Cali, I didn't necessarily get stopped, but I saw like robocops. I saw robot cops patrolling the park. I'm like, what kind of shit is this? I'm like, that seems just like an ominous precursor of what's to come. Sure enough, as soon as I leave, San Francisco became the first city in America to legalize robots killing people. I'm like, man, this California done lost they fucking mind. How did we get to this point? But yeah, you know how they got to that point? They started these military contractors who are working with the government, creating all these deadly weapons that we know nothing about. They have privacy. If the whistleblower comes out, they vilify the whistleblower. We got whistleblowers in Russia, all across the world, trying to escape being murdered because of some whistleblowers, they just end up dead. A lot of them. I think we need to protect those motherfuckers because, like, they're exposing what our government is doing with these corporations. Total unaccountability. We got so many criminals who, like, they flaunt their criminality. You got millions of people like, I see the crime you're doing, I see the crime, but then people get shut down from social media. Like YouTube is a known fucking criminal. They shut down discussion over a medicine that they were directly investing into. You can't question it. And they will shut you down for just, criticizing it or just having a question. Just like, why would we have to take it? That shit doesn't work. So y'all making me take some shit that doesn't work? You have just common sense questions. You get shut down. So it's just like, and it's just like they were started with government money. It's a fascist company. Started with government money. They buy up patents for things they didn't invent. They put down their competition. So that's why it's like Google, they come to the market with a smartphone. All the smartphones they were ripping off when they came out with their model, they put out of business. We got no Palm, we got no Windows, we got no BlackBerry, we got no fucking, was the Nokia operating system, whatever bullshit that was on. We got nothing. It's just like, you better buy a Google phone or Apple. And Apple, Google has backdoors in Apple. They're the default search engine. And it's like, why? Because we're run by criminals. And a lot of these motherfuckers, they need to be exposed. They need to do some jail time. These are criminal psychopaths committing some of the most atrocious shit. Google, they had a bunch of employees, the people who actually create the technology that we use. They ended up walking out of Google during something called Project Maven, when they found out that the government, that the intellectual prowess that they were investing was being used, facial recognition software to drone bomb people. And they were bombing 90% of the wrong person 90% of the time because their technology was terrible on colored faces. And it's just like, where are we using these drone bombs? Colored lands that we want to steal, that the government wants to steal, and our partners, our allies. I'd say our partners, our allies, we're really just under the same rubric of being controlled by the same psychopaths in the British government. We think we have independence. We are like the big Israel of North America. Because our government was formed under a colonial project by the Brits. And then we had this whole scuffle. Like I said, the richest people in the world are like, no, we're not going to pay you guys taxes. We are the kings. So we're going to like just put the richest dude in the country in a position of power. We're going to let Bill Gates, he's going to be the president. That's what George Washington was. It was like, yeah, he's the one making the laws. He's the one depriving the people he doesn't like of basic necessities, enslaving them. We're gonna like make all this money off their work, exploiting them, and we're gonna have like this enormous wealth gap. So it's like the people at the top have all the money, then they pay like a few slave handlers, like enough to survive, so they can like deal with all the uprisings and massacres of slave handlers. Then we're gonna have our slave class, And it's just like it's exactly that same way right now. It's just not ascribed by your color. You could be a white slave now. It's like you working 3 jobs and you still can't afford your place. You're a slave. Welcome to slavery. This is we are in need of the overthrow of not only just our corporate captors, but just the mindset that they've imposed on us. We need to create like a new culture to overcome this, because like what ends up happening when you have a system that is created by psychopaths, like just the most psychopathic. We talking about families that have been controlling shit for thousands of years. Like it's just like they start off with more money than like what do you think happens to the wealth of someone who has $300 billion? You think you just run out of that? Like it's just like I had $300 billion the other day, but then these shoes came out, and just like, man, I gotta get the new J's. No, it's just it doesn't happen. Like your money you can live off the interest when you get to $10 million. That's $500,000 a year. Most people are like, oh my God, where's the job that pays that? I work for that kind of money. I'll dedicate my like I work every day, 10 hours a day for that kind of money. Yeah, but your interest is making that kind of money. So you like when we talk about like 300 billion, you don't run out, right? And it's just like this is with inflation, but the dollar doesn't mean as much. When we go back, we had billionaires way back in the day. We had billionaire Rockefellers, uh, Rothschilds. They had billions. Some people estimate trillions. The richest people who no one knows about because like they don't want to be known. The people who we get to know about are the people who have these government contracts where it's like you can just do a FOIA request and you can see, oh shit, they're getting $10 billion contracts. So these motherfuckers who are stealing our rights, buying our politicians, it's just like it's not really a bribe, it's an investment because they get $10 billion contracts, $100 billion off of this and that, and it's just like like they're robbing us um of not only our money but our rights, our freedom, our uh quality of life, our life expectancy. It's just like we are run by the biggest criminal cabal. And I say that because this is something I believe. I mean, it's true. Like we are actually run by criminals, like some of the most deplorable people in the world. And as soon as you can like take your time and get someone in office who you think is going to fight for you, but once they get there, they get corrupted. Um, but then watching this whole shit unfold in Israel, seeing their government just like totally dehumanize um these Palestinian people whose land they stole, whose children they've killed for decades upon decades. It's just like when you hear that Gaza has like 2 point some odd million people, and over half of them are children. When they say they're mowing the lawn, they're getting rid of their elders. They're getting rid of anybody who could pass down the information, letting them know that they came from greater than what they're experiencing right now, and that these people are deplorable. They're robbing their land. It's just like you don't have any of this information. You just hear what the Israeli propaganda tells them, right? And then the people who make the propaganda start to believe it themselves. Um, they were all, they were uh, the people chosen to rob and kill these Palestinian people because of what some white person in Germany did. Like they're gonna go and steal these brown people land. It's like, y'all, this German dude did some fucked up shit. So we're gonna come over there and kill y'all and show y'all what he did to us. we're gonna show you what we learned from him to steal your land. And this was agreed to back in 1917 during the Balfour Declaration. Then, Hitler had his rise to power, funded by British government, funded by all the corporations working, owning my government. Um, Yeah, and then like they get this power, they create this narrative. So it's just like, like my country is just frowned upon, like how the settlers acquired the land because they just committed a genocide on the native people, right? Um, and then it was just like, oh shit, this is terrible. We got to do something because we got the white people. They going native. They starting to like live amongst the native people. We got to kill them, make a message out of them. Um, but yeah, we got to do something so we don't seem like the asshole. Because we saying native savages, but we literally wiping them all out. We got General Custard like killing pregnant women, cutting their bellies open, and killing the baby. Just it's like it's not a good look. I mean, of course, we turned Custer into a hero in our culture, just like Columbus, because they are the despicable people who further the empire. And we need like people to just like think, that psychopath who killed people and did all this murderous genocide shit, while convinced that the people who he's killing are his inferiors. It's something we can learn from that person. Um, but yeah, this is something that a lot of cultures waking up to. A lot of people, they started repurposing Columbus Day and calling it Indigenous Peoples Day. And just like it's important to remember that the indigenous people, the people who were shaped by that land, um, are very important. Their cultures, their learnings, and all that stuff. And just because a culture doesn't dedicate all of its mental capacity to creating weapons of death, like the West, once they figured out, like once the Chinese shared their technology on creating guns, using gunpowder for muskets and cannons. All they did was just figure out new ways to kill each other. And then another one of the big things they love to talk about is like, oh, we are the theater people. Look at ancient Rome and Greece. They were big on theater. You know why they were big on theater? Because they're liars. They're liars who manipulate people into turning against each other, divide and conquer. So you turn the people against each other, and you're like, okay, we'll turn this one brown group against this other brown group, and then we'll like pretend to be their friends, and then we'll come in and just kill them all because we fuck all of them. We're better. We're the liars. We're the ones who they believe. Uh, uh, when we deceive them, then we use these weapons that we got from these other people, this superior culture, and then we murder them, and then we're the better people, and they're the savages. Then we impose our history on them. It's just like their history is irrelevant. They came from the jungle, even though all of the modern day creations that we use today were used in Egypt. It's just like the patent system is bullshit. They discovered most of the important shit that we use to this day. They were using their best minds to try to reverse engineer what they were finding in foreign lands with brown people, brown people who they say are inferior. Um, and it's just like it's an ongoing thing. It's depriving people of their history, and just claiming the moral high ground, even though you are the biggest savage in the fucking world. And I say all this to set up a clip. I don't know if you guys know who Marco Rubio is. He is someone who was trying to overthrow the democratically elected leadership in many countries, including Venezuela. He was trying to say that this dude who had nothing to do, no one ever voted for him, a guy, Juan Guaido, almost forgot his name. Donald Trump called him John Guidi, or it was Biden, or one of them. They're both interchangeable. I don't vote for the Republicans. They're all racist Klan members, especially the Democrats. But yeah, he's just like the sack of shit. He's like he wants the governments he doesn't like overthrown, and when a government that he's in support of is just bombing and killing children, he says nothing. until the people who have been being misplaced, killed, disrespected, um, just a genocide on the people has taken place, and he didn't say a mumbling word about it. But when people retaliate, people who maybe lost loved ones in wars, people who are actually funded, but when people retaliate, people who maybe lost loved ones in wars, people who are actually funded by Israel. Benjamin Netanyahu was for funding a terrorist group named Hamas up until 2019 on camera. Like, yeah, go Hamas. Let's give them some money because, like, they're the crazy ones, and we could just justify killing Palestinians because they'll do something stupid. He was for this. He funded them to do this. You know why? You know why Benjamin Netanyahu funds terrorists? Because he oversees a terrorist state. Um, um, and it's just like I started to question, like, is Israel's government more psychopathic than my own? This is something I never thought I would question. I mean, you could argue that the British are, because they installed my government. They incentivized this craziness. It's like an experiment, because they have universal health care over in Britain, but it's being repealed. They say it's a what is it, universal health care. They say it's a what is it, universal health care or not? What is it? No, I would love universal health care, but what is it? United Healthcare, one of the companies that the healthcare deprivers at Universal Healthcare, they started to corrupt the British government to start to repeal some of their the stuff that they started taking for granted. Um, but yeah, yeah, they say it was universal health care, but I really think it was just like the British government, the people who brought health care for all, after they had World War II. They were like, oh, we got the Americans. We made them our bitch. They're our little Israel, our big Israel. We got Israel over here. Now we got the Ukraine. We get them to fight our wars. You know how we want to go in Iraq back in 1920? Well, we got a bigger fucking military to do it. And it's going to be their soldiers. It's not going to be us. They were saying the same shit we're saying about Ukraine. It's not going to be Americans dying. It's not going to be the British dying. It's going to be those stupid oafish Americans. And they benefited from putting, Iran's oil and BP's British Petroleum's hands. Like, yeah, this is the stupid Americans. They'll do all of our interest, all of our business interests amazingly. So it's just like, yeah, we became their bitch. The French, they were having issues with Vietnam. Those damn Vietnamese, get the Americans in there. These damn Vietnamese. I can't even do a French accent right now. Viva la France, though. I love to see the revolution. Not that my issue is not with the people; it's with the government. Just like Israel, just like my government, my country, it's really with the government. But yeah, we were their government's bitch, and and it's just like a continuity in how we deal with the rest of the world. Smugnorance of smug ignorance of, and we don't want to hear about their culture. China, they got a culture millennia older than anything the West ever thought of. Same with Africa, same with South America. But there's a smugnorance in our leadership, and yeah, and it's just like, it's definitely epitomized by this clip I came across of Marco Rubio talking about what's going on in Palestine.
We are dealing with people whose value system tells them that life has no value, that it is okay to die, that is a form of worship if you die in the name of jihad. In fact, they view
you can replace, if you die in the name of Uncle Sam, you replace jihad with Uncle Sam, or just die in the name of the American government. Because how many people signed up for killing a bunch of innocent people in Afghanistan and die in the name of the American government. Because how many people signed up for killing a bunch of innocent people in Afghanistan and Iraq right after 9/11? And people are like, oh my God, I'm gonna go defend my country. I'm gonna die for my country, even if you didn't get like shot. Like you avoided the drone. I mean, you avoided the being a boots on the ground victim. Like you just were around one of the open burn pits. You got cancer, or like you were lucky enough to be thousands of miles away, just operating a drone, killing a few families that had nothing to do with nothing. It was just like minding their business, good people. You kill some of them, and then you realize, oh my God, I was lied to, and I was just like casually killing these people. When you hear like some of the descriptions from people who operated these drones, they had a kill list. They just went through it and they didn't question like, okay, why is this person on here? Did I kill the right person? Some people, they were just like, oh yeah, killing brown people. Like you look at like all the Dexters, the racist Dexters who were enabled by the government. You take them aside, the people who got into the war because they thought they were actually helping people. The good people, they were just like, they had that moral injury, like, oh my God, what did I do? And then they killed themselves. Highest suicide rate. More people killed themselves from suicide since 9/11 than all of Vietnam War. So the technology, we can't afford the soldiers dying because, some of them are actually good people. They shouldn't have been a soldier of these corporations. They should have been a warrior of love. A soldier just takes orders. A warrior knows what they're fighting for. But yeah, so it's just like we need those warriors to wake up. That's how we see the revolutions that we're seeing in the rest of the world. People are waking up like, oh my God, I'm not gonna be these motherfuckers soldier of fortune, soldier of destruction, death. I'm not a destroyer, I'm a creator in the world of destroyers. Don't let your pedagogy stop you from greatness. Don't listen to people like Marco Rubio.
Heroic for their children to be killed as martyrs. They do not value life. They are willing to kill innocents, and their goal.
They do not value life, said the person who was for every war ever. Every motherfucking war. Just like, let's go kill these motherfuckers. He's just a raving, bloodthirsty maniac. He wants to overthrow any government that stands for its people. That like, Venezuela, their energy is publicly owned. So all that oil that he wanted to steal, the money that they were making from that oil was going to the people. So they had healthcare, they had a food program, they had all these things that were benefiting the people until we put sanctions on them. We did all this stuff to pressure their government to crumble. We wanted to destroy them, but they did not. Why? Because they started working with other governments. Like other governments are building shit. They have something called BRICS. BRICS, if you're not aware of it. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Now they figured out ways to trade with each other without using our dollar, which is worthless. They're like, this shit it's full of slave traders. Why do you guys have it? What do you guys create? What do you create? Propaganda? We don't need that shit. You guys got a writer strike. You guys got a fucking actor strike. So it's just like the people who are like depriving the vital people who are needed to make the entertainment we like. The people who are making all the money off of that shit are the middlemen who are controlling the message. So it's just like, we don't want to pay for that shit. So your dollar is worthless. We don't want to buy your trinket. We're getting off of oil anyway. And the oil we do need to buy, we'll just buy it directly from countries that are your trinket. We're getting off of oil anyway. And the oil we do need to buy, we'll just buy it directly from countries that are less violent. They're not going to kill us. They're not going to indiscriminately bomb us, overthrow our leaders. Like, we're done with y'all. It's like, what y'all gonna do? Go to war with everybody just because you got the world's largest military? No. I mean, of course, they the government is definitely trying to go to war with everybody, um, including the big dogs, China, Russia, talking about Iran. We couldn't beat Iraq. We couldn't beat Afghanistan. They coming out with like push brooms and twigs, like the shit that they found around the house, and they still uh weren't able to be defeated by us. Like we killed a fuckload of people, but like it's just like nobody wants what we're selling. We're selling democracy. We're bringing democracy over here. No, it's not democracy. They see like motherfuckers like me. I'm like, where the fuck is the democracy? This ain't shit. I never voted for Joe Biden. I don't know anybody who wanted to fucking vote for Joe Biden. Some people were stupid. Oh, I don't want to vote for Trump. I don't want to vote for Trump either. This is these are our options. Nobody wants to vote for any of these motherfuckers. It's just like being you want to be stabbed in the dick or shot in the head. Like it's not an option. It's not like some shit that like a sane person would like. Oh, I guess being stabbed in the dick is cool. Stab me in the dick. I wanted to change my gender anyway. Anyway, yeah. So it's just like this is the person representing this corrupt ass fucking government. We're pushing democracy, and motherfuckers like him are in office. Nobody I know. Marco Rubio's got a great point on that. This motherfucker just bought and paid for. That's the only reason why he has any voice. And he thinks motherfuckers value his sage wisdom. This corrupt sack of shit, racist sack of shit.
Simple. They want every Jew out of the Middle East either dead or gone.
And just a little thing you didn't know. Let's not conflate Judaism with colonialism. Right? You got the right to practice any religion, including the Western ones. I was raised Christian. I understand Western religion. I don't personally. I got away from it. I don't get my religion from monarchs, King James. What is this shit? That's Second Reich hogwash. Every Reich comes up with their own religion. The First Reich, they burnt the Library of Alexandria. They took stories from ancient Egypt, ancient Babylon, civilizations that were around millennia longer than Rome, made them feel shame. That's why they had to burn it down. And they took that shit and they were like, we're going to create the Bible. In the Bible, Rome is the bad guy. They killed Jesus. That little cross is a little symbol showing you that the government is more powerful than your Messiah and they will murder your Messiah. Right? So it's just like, this is it's not something I ascribe to. I mean, they by the time the British Empire, that's the Second Reich, they came up with their religion. It was like an update to that shit. It was King James's version. They put it in English. It's just as much bullshit as anything Rome could come up with, maybe more. Who knows? And then you get to the Third Reich, Hitler, funded by the British Empire, and the Brits, the Romes, they went into Great Britannia, less than Great Britannia. So it's just like, like I said, families have been running the world, or the world as they see it, for thousands of years. Yeah, so it's just we ended up the Third Reich, their religion. It was, I mean, they stole a lot of shit. So when you get to like the swastika, they got that from ancient India. They went in there, saw these ancient civilizations, like, oh, these are great, amazing. They couldn't figure out how it was made. So they're like, man, it must have been like an ancient civilization of white people here, because I can't see how these darkies can come up with this stuff. So he took their what is the term they like to use? Culturally appropriated their signs, their swastika, which meant something totally different, and turned it into a hook cross. And then he would, they called it the Nazi movement, short for Ashkenazis. And that's like the Fifth Reich, Israel. Fourth Reich is probably U.S. I mean, you could argue if we're the fourth or fifth, but it's just like we're our religion is um, science. That's the thing you can't question. You can't question their science. You know, like you can have questions, like you be a scientific mind and have like, oh my God, I did 15 years as a doctor here, a scientist over here. And it's just like, yeah, I have some questions. You can't question their science. And that's the, you know, their science is the new religion. Fauci science. Fauci is science. Now he's like, you know, he's staying out of the spotlight because they want to arrest him. A lot of people want to arrest him. Some people want to kill him. You know, it's just like whoever gets to him first, just do something. Of course, I celebrate justice. I would like to see it brought to all of these evil motherfuckers like Marco Rubio. It's just this is another video, another interview of him espousing similar rhetoric. Let's check it out.
Well, the situation in Israel is as follows. They are right on their border in a territory they're called Gaza, a bunch of fanatical savages. The reason why they exist.
Let me tell you, the fanatical savages, you would think he's talking about Israel. People who came over just started slaughtering these people, the Nakba 1.0. They're just killing them. You know, because they felt entitled to their land because the Balfour Declaration was signed back in 1917. They were like, we waited to 1948, motherfucker, give us the land. White people need it. We need that land. You would think they're the savages. You know, they were working with the British government, the evil motherfuckers who we said we had a revolution to overthrow. We chose the Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos of the time, George Washington. He was better than the British government. Right, but he was working with the Israeli settlers. The British government sent in their army, started just killing people. It was just like the Ottoman Empire fell, bitch. Give us that land. We need it. You don't have anyone to protect you. But yeah, he's talking about the Palestinians who are just like caught in the middle between a bunch of fucking psychopathic governments, including my own.
Destroy the state of Israel, drive every Jew out of the Middle East, has just put.
Yeah, they drive every Jew. Once again, not Jew. Psychopathic, murderous, racist sack of shit who have been killing their people for decades, killing their children, mowing the lawn, murdering people.
And massacred babies and teenage girls and innocent civilians.
That's he's not talking about the Israeli government, which has been doing that for much longer, indiscriminately. We just came in their land like, oh my God, Hitler was so bad to us. Bang, bang, bang. Give us your land, bitch. Give us that land, motherfucker. It makes no sense. Like they think they're the good people. Whatever happened to you, it's just like it's the pedagogy. You can argue it's the pedagogy of the oppressed, but it's just like some of the people who are at the tippy top, making the most money, profiting the most, are the people who are just the most evil through the whole way. Like someone like, let's say, George Soros, who's involved with overthrowing countless governments. Right? He's a Jewish person. They'll crucify you if you say his name, speak ill of him. But he's a Jewish person whose family profited off of robbing other Jewish people. Anti-Semitic, not just for what he did to the Jewish people, but for what he did to the Palestinian people, because they're Semitic people too.
Coexist. I argue they never could, despite some of the so-called experts around here saying that Hamas is a group you can work with.
Some of the so-called experts, like Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's prime minister, they funded Hamas because they like when they do crazy shit. He loves funding terrorists because he is a terrorist, and we fund that terrorist. We fund terrorists, and the terrorism begets more terrorism. If you haven't figured it out, it's just like we need to just overthrow our terrorist government, hope that the British people we help the British people overthrow their terrorist government. And it's just like France, they look like they got their own shit figured out. They're like coming out daily. It looks like, and it's just like, you know, because they made it illegal for Palestinians or for French people to come out and support Palestinian voices, you know, have pro-Palestinian protests, and then the French came out in droves, like the street was littered with them because they were just showing support for the Palestinian cause.
Including the guy in charge of dealing with the Iranians under the Biden administration, who's now being investigated for all kinds of crimes involving classified information, sharing it.
Sir, if someone is involved with sharing classified information, and that's a crime, it's just like, that's something I got to get more info. Like, you're sharing classified information, like the crimes that my government's doing. Great, let's get you out. Was it Edward Snowden? That's his crime. Free that motherfucker. Come back to America. Thank you, Russia, for taking care of them. I never like spoke ill of your government. People called me a Putin puppet. They said it because I was like, I don't want to go to war with Russia. They got nukes. I'm cool. They said, no, you're Putin puppet. They called me a Putin puppet. I still haven't met Putin. If I could talk to him, I say thank you for helping Edward Snowden. I'll gladly accept being called a Putin puppet. I thank you for what you did with Paul Robeson. You know, he got treated like shit by my government. They called him a communist. He was brought in front of the Congress. They were talking shit about him. They had him watched by intelligence agencies. His son said that he thinks he was poisoned by the government, but Russian people, they treated him with humanity, respect. They were happy to see him. You know, it's just like, so, you know, he's a hero, and I'm glad that you received him like one.
This guy was one of the guys arguing that. So what happens? Israel can't coexist with these guys. This group has to be destroyed.
Israel can't coexist with these guys, so they have to be destroyed. You know, Israel, they can't coexist with most colored people, right? You know, the history of South Africa, when apartheid got a little too thick, a lot of the Boers who were imposing apartheid, they're like, oh my God, the jig is up. Let's say we're Jewish, and then we go over to Israel and just start stealing Palestinian land. You know, it's like the shit is still working over there. We could like really show them this apartheid, like, because we got it down to a science. We could tell them what we learned from South Africa. We'll have an advantage, because if they say, oh man, y'all are killing our people, and they try to slap you after you kill his mom, you should be like, you anti-Semite. Why are you so anti-Semitic? You hateful person. They're the hateful ones, because we're the enlightened white people who are entitled to their land. We were chosen for that land. Remember all those dark-skinned Jews from so many millennia ago that the Bible got from the Library of Alexandria? You know, with the stories we were stealing. Well, that was us. We were those dark-skinned people, because we converted to Judaism as soon as they signed the Balfour Declaration. They're like, we getting some land? Holla. No. It's just like, you can believe the fairy tales that this motherfucker is making up. Or just, you know, coincide with reality. Let's just see.
This group follows the same playbook. This is a playbook they've played over and over again. Not just them, by the way, Hezbollah and others. Okay, they attack Israel, they kill a bunch of Jews, then they take off running and they go.
This is our playbook. This was the playbook for the Middle East for the past few decades. We attack them. We kill them. We blame them, and then like we take off like a bandit, like a thief in the night. After we got those resources, we got all that opium. We brought the opiate epidemic after we invaded Afghanistan, where they would just so happen to be growing a bunch of opium. Just like we got all this shit on lock. They still appear to be mad with us. So let's check out. Let's go to this other war. We're gonna start killing this other country. We're looking for new resources. Let's start going and getting lithium. It finds out that the air we breathe is deadly, so we gotta switch it up because we drink the water. The poorest, they drink the water, but it's just like it's like a complex circulatory system. You know, as the wind is pushing the debris of all the toxic chemicals in our water, and it's just the rain is now toxic, and it's getting all. We're drinking the poison, so we got to figure something out. Let's get away from this. Yeah, but he's in favor of all of the worst because he's such an idiot.
In Gaza, for example, and they hide behind civilians. Israel responds. Civilians unfortunately died.
Okay, and this is the thing that frustrates me the most. Like whenever I hear, oh, Hamas is using these Palestinians as human shields. Nobody would ever use a Palestinian as a human shield. Worst human shield ever. Not only would they wouldn't just like shoot if someone's about to shoot at you, you pull out a Palestinian. It's like human shield. You hit me, you're gonna hit the baby. Not they're gonna put down the gun just so they can get like a drone bomb, and they're gonna drone bomb the entire household, apartment complex, wherever you're at. It's just obliterated. Like because you pulled out this Palestinian shield that made them put down their fucking gun and go nuclear on your ass. So it's just like, yeah, no one in Hamas would be like, let me get a Palestinian human shield. That makes no sense. Not even Israeli human shields make sense. Because now they kill the Israeli human shields to avoid having to negotiate with the Palestinians. And then they can say, oh, you killed them. You did it. It was the Hamas, they did it. You know, because Hamas, they took a few hostages. And they thought that would give them some leverage, but then, you know, they just started bombing it indiscriminately. Like, well, motherfucker, we'll kill our own hostages, bitch.
The Hamas uses them as shields. They then go run to the global press and they say, look what Israel's doing, look how terrible this is. And then everyone puts pressure on Israel to stop before the job is done. And then what happens? Those guys survive and they come back and they kill more Jews in Israel.
And when he says the job is done, and I'll leave it on this, when he says the job is done, he's talking about a genocide, wiping out all brown people in the area. Like, oh, they keep surviving. Because who is Hamas? Hamas is a bunch of people who got so pissed off at watching their family and loved ones die. They were like, you know what? I'm just going to just be a martyr. I'm just going to sacrifice my life. I'm a blow myself up just to make someone have a bad day. I'm not even going to get close enough to kill them. I'm just going to be like, motherfucker, I'm going to die in front of you just to ruin your day. That's what the mindset that people are equipped with. And how does someone get to that point? After just living in an open air prison, concentration camp that was provided by the Ashkenazis. And they learned it because, it was the Ashkenazi movement. Some people say that Hitler was a Jew. I used to not believe it. And I heard people like, oh man, you think there are Nazis in Ukraine and the Ukrainian government, a man run by a Jew. You think he got Nazis? And then I see Zelensky going to Canada and applauding Nazis, giving standing ovations to World War II era Nazis. Just like we salute you for being so resilient. Just getting out, continuing to further Mein Führer's project. Just thank you. It's just yay, go Nazis. A Jew celebrating a Nazi. It's just you realize that it's just like it's not about one religion or another, or it's about an agenda, and it's an agenda that gets furthered because of corruption. The corrupt psychopaths. My government, Israel's government, Canada's government, Australia's government, of course, just Europe, all of Europe's government. They are the colonizing force. And you could argue, obviously, China, because they gave them the weaponry to colonize. The Europeans, they didn't have the know-how, the sophistication of the Chinese. Um, and now they're trying to fight them. They're posturing for war with China. The people who gave them the weaponry for their empire. It's just like not. It's just extremely foolhardy. I'm reminded of a quote from Malcolm X, which I'm going to paraphrase. I'm probably going to butcher it, but it was just like it was around the time China had 800 million Chinese, and they were like, yeah, he's like, the white man wants you to like go to war with 800 million Chinese people, but he don't want you to fight his government. He's like, you bet you have a better odds at fighting the white man's government than all those 800 million Chinese people. Um, Now it's just, you could like update it because most of the people in the ghetto are white at this point. But yeah, it's just like you got this tyrannical government, and you look at all the colonial projects. Australia was colonized by people in debtors' prisons. Like struggling motherfuckers who had to go to war, kill people for a house. And it's just like we got that same exact system in place right now with my government. You want to get a little home loan, sign up to kill people. You want to get an education, go sign up to kill people. You got to kill somebody if you want to be like um, any chance for economic mobility. But yeah, I would implore that instead of like going killing someone who had nothing to do with you and your destitution, your desperation, that would make you even entertain the idea of killing someone for money, a hitman. I had this conversation. My nephew was telling me, he had interest in being in the service, and a sibling telling me that, they were helping him get to that point. It's just like, yeah, you're gonna kill for this government. You're gonna kill somebody for this government. It's just like the level of desperation that people in certain communities have to arrive at to just like get to that point where it's like, I'll be a hitman. I just kill random people so this government can continue to like bring this system that made me get to this point where I'm so desperate to kill people, so desperate for money, I would kill people for basic necessities. I would give up my soul for that. Um, yeah. Instead of getting to that point, I would like people to just point their ire at the correct people, the corporations that run our government. Uh, they're trying to overthrow every government because they want control over every person because we are numerous, and together we would be able to overthrow whatever they have. They need us to advance whatever agenda they have. They don't know how to create robot dogs that shoot flames at people and have rockets. They need poor motherfuckers who are desperate enough to invest their intellectual capacity on whatever the fuck they want to create instead of making the world a better place. Instead of like creating that generator that ran on the dirt in our water, the toxins that are killing us, like you can like run a house and then have a clean jug of water when you're done with it. Instead of like creating that, they want you killing people. They want you creating those robots that are going to kill your own family, kill the people you care about. Um, and it's just like we need to wake up to this fact. We have the power, um, and we really need to come together if we want to create something great. That's not true. CNN told me there are no poor white people. Sure, I'm sure they did, and I say this. I got a lot of family who would like they'll contest it when I say it, but it's very fucking true. I have more connection with a poor white person than I do with someone like Kamala Harris, right? And it's just I was having this conversation with my sibling, and they were telling me Like, these white people, they super racist. They say Barack Obama bad. They say Kamala Harris bad. I'm like, dude, they are bad. Kamala Harris, Barack Obama. You want to talk about like racist people? Saying something bad about these people is not racist. It's common sense, right? I was one of those motherfuckers who was full to voting for Obama back in 2008. Never again. Vote for fool me once, shame on you. Shame on the Democrats. Never voted Democrat ever again. I can't be fooled. Oh man, we gotta get the first female president. Okay, now let me vote for Jill Stein. A vote for Jill Stein. A vote for Donald Trump. You voting for a man? No. So it's just like I don't fall for the bullshit, and I also realize I'm like I'm going way over, and I'm like realizing my battery's dying. So, but yeah, just Arky, fuck all Republicrats. Shut up and eat your bugs, peasant. You will own nothing, and you will be happy, brother. Um, show me your feet. Okay, that's what's up. My race is dying, and the glizzies are running out. Well, yes, I agree. Our race is dying. The human race is tragically dying, especially in Palestine, because, like I said, we're all run by psychopaths. But united, we can overcome it. You know, I personally believe. May I say, I know when left on our own devices, we'll find a way to make it through this crisis. When run by crooks focused on stock prices, they'll have us all doing dead or lifeless. They'll have us all doing time or lifeless. See, they could change the world in the time to cite this, but when you're that greedy, you ain't living righteous. That's why they made the world in the devil's likeness, but we come to united, we can win despite this. All right, let's see. Didn't Malcolm X say if you're black and vote Democrat, you're a chump and a traitor to your race? I can see him saying that. It makes a lot of sense. He compared voting Democrat over Republican. It's like um, going to the fox over the wolf, like having the wolf scare you into going into the fox's arms. Neither of them wants to see you doing well. Both of them see you on the menu, but they have one portrayed as a softer, more gentle, but they all have the same uh, plan for you. Paraphrased, yes. Yes. And all right, so I'm just gonna exit out because this looks like it's glitching. So I appreciate you guys showing up. I'll be going early on the live stream, early morning, because I got something to do in the afternoon. So, and then I'll be busy all through the day. But I want to make you guys aware, and it's good seeing you, uh, Mr. Tsunami, as well as Ball Parkinson. And I saw a bunch of comments on the Instagram I was hoping to get to, but by the time I was like done with just the update, I was the Instagram it crashed, and sorry for those folks. And I'm gonna figure this shit out. What's going on with Rumble? Hopefully, because I paid for a fucking app that worked the last two times. One of them was a little messed up. It was vertical and it should have been horizontal. But I digress. But yeah, we're gonna figure this shit out, and because I'm not gonna pay for some shit that just doesn't work. All right, later, peace, everybody. To love you. Don't forget to be good to each other, unless you're being oppressed. Someone's coming at you. They're shooting at your kneecaps. They don't view your humanity. You assert your humanity. And it's just like freedom is not something you ask for, it's something you take. And yeah, I love to see the people across the world asserting their humanity, getting their freedom. Uh, well, and I just look forward to the day when we start seeing some of the criminals in my country doing the perp walk. as well as the world. We need to see a lot more war criminals behind bars. Or, you know, if you got like a different form of justice you want to bring to them, let's have a discussion. As long as it's democratic, I'm for the results. Peace.